What up, ladies and gentlemen? How's it going? How's it going? So, all right, we got Scoring the Globers, episode 7. I had some stuff pop up, didn't work out as originally planned for Wednesday, but we got it done today. Hopefully, sound and everything is good. I let Telegram vote on this episode, and they chose to learn about the sky. So, should be good times. Let's just say that the Globers are not going to be particularly happy with this stream. And be there for your Glober friends after this. Maybe organize a Glober intervention, look into baller rehabilitation. Just be there for them, support them. It's hard, It's tough out here in these streets, in these Glober streets. Um Heliosexuality is no joke. It leads to mass confusion, and you just gotta try to show empathy and be there for them. And they may go into a state of depression, so try to cheer them up. Show them a couple clips of Joe Biden, and then just show them cartoons of their model, and let them grieve in a healthy way. Uh, that's really all you can do. So, in preparation for the presentation, if you are new to this conversation, or if you are not, then I'm sure you've begun to find out that anyone that claims that the Earth is in fact a globe and flat earthers are stupid, they have a handful of quote unquote evidence for this. And pretty much all of it, maybe 95% of it, is pointing at the sky. Why are all the other planets balls? And why are all the other planets round? And how do sunsets work? The fact the sun sets proves the Earth can't be flat. The fact I can see the sun and then I can't see the sun proves that the Earth can't be flat. I can't see Mount Everest from across the Earth. The Earth can't be flat. Why can't I see Polaris from Australia? Earth can't be flat. What about eclipses? What about what direction the sun comes from? What about the solstice? What about the equinox? What about the southern star trails? What about when we see the stars looking in the south from 3 different directions? Oh no, 3 different positions. All they have is made up stories of the sky. Now, Glovers, please pull out your pencils. You are going to want to take notes, but basically, in case you didn't know this, the globe model was quite literally engineered looking at the sky. So if you stumble around in your stupor of heliosexuality in 2023 and you try to stumble through incoherent, mumbling sentences and tell us how you know the Earth's a ball because something in the sky matches the model, that's pretty ignorant. The model was, again, quite literally made, crafted from, engineered from the sky. They looked at the sky and then they made a model of the Earth based on the sky. It couldn't have even been the current globe model if it wasn't based on the sky and it didn't match it, because that's how they made it. So the fact that the sky matches the globe model doesn't prove the globe model. It's how the globe model was made. Soak it in. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna explain reality today, and ironically, Southern Star Trails in no way debunk the flat Earth. They actually debunk the globe, and the sun doesn't debunk the flat Earth. It debunks the globe. That's right, and all kinds of celestial phenomena debunks the globe. I know that's brutal. I know it's hard for you to accept that. Fairy tales about the sky is like your little baby, but it's gonna be okay. Like I said, be there for your baller friend. Look into a friendly baller intervention. Um, and only as a last resort, tie them down, open up their eyelids, and MK Ultra them with flat Earth videos. Okay, let's get into it. We're gonna do the presentation. There's quite a bit to cover. I'm going to try to make this click for everyone, and hopefully it does by the end of it. Again, it is explaining how we see what we see in the sky on a plain Earth. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for the $10 super chat, Samuel. Ron Dignity, thank you for the dollar. Hey, thank you for becoming a new member. MKE Matt. Hey, welcome to the Miswits. And John Sopko. Thank you for becoming a Miswit. Welcome to the club. Hey. All right. Love the new logo. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's get started. In a world. So, hopefully this fills up the screen here. Let's do it. Tonight's stream is called Eyes to See. All celestial phenomena explained on a plane Earth. Let's get it. So, one of the most famous things that is commonly said as to how the Earth cannot be flat is that when you look in the south, the stars move clockwise, and in the north, they move counterclockwise. And they claim this is because you're antipodal upside down on a ball. And that's the only way that it could happen. So we have the star trails here, and they say that this is impossible and debunks flat Earth. Let's see if that's true. So here is a nifty little model made by someone by the name of Walter Bislin, and it explains all celestial phenomena on a plane Earth. This includes eclipses, equinox positions of the sun and the moon positions throughout the year, visibility of the sun and the moon, directions of the sun and set and the moon set, the fact the sun doesn't change angular size, southern star trails, all positions of the stars, everything. It explains everything. Very interesting. This was done by an anti-flat earther. Here's the truth about this story, by the way. He worked on this for a long time trying to debunk flat Earth. He found out he really couldn't once he took the azimuthal grid and put it on the flat Earth. So he kind of just gave up and said it would be impossible because light would have to bend. Okay, so let's look at some of this so you guys can start to get an idea of it. So this is, of course, a local sun and moon moving over top of a plane Earth. Of course, the sun would not light up the entire Earth. That's ignorant. Yep, has a radius of light. And there's something called attenuation of light. Light does not travel forever. That's an insane, absurd claim. So, seems pretty simple concept here. Let's move on. So, you have what's called an azimuthal grid of vision. You can only see so far. You have a limited view in all directions, 360-degree field of view. And this is what we see the world through the lens of our personal, people have coined it, dome. More specifically and more accurately, it is an azimuthal grid of vision or observability. Azimuthal grid of vision. We will cover what that means. So here's another depiction. As you can see, we view the sky through this azimuthal grid. There's Polaris at the correct angle relative to that latitude as the stars move over top. Now, of course, the stars can in fact be a plane over top of us. And this beautiful masterpiece that is the Walter Bislin Flat Earth Dome model. Shout out to Walter. Thanks, Walter. You can actually make the stars be a parallel level plane over top of you. So here's an idea of what's going on with the positions of the sun relative to latitude. As you can see, the sun changes position throughout the year, and of course, changes position relative to your latitude. This right here, if you were to view the sun at a certain time of the year, you would see that in certain areas on the earth, you see the sun for 24 hours. Makes perfect sense on a flat earth. Now, you always see it close to the horizon, which it seems like it should actually go all the way up in the sky and stay there on a globe, but no, just coincidentally, the globe always favors what would have to happen on a flat earth, just like the ISS doesn't go over either of the poles, but whatever. Um, I don't know which one we skipped, but it'll be okay. So here's just a basic part of the model. Now later I can pull the model up and go through it and kind of show you more hands-on, but I threw all this into PowerPoint. So you get a basic idea. We have a dome potentially over top of the Earth. It actually seems like a layered magnetic field. A toroid, we live in a sphere, not on one, on the plane through the middle. But we have a personal dome, and that is the important aspect to really wrap your mind around. You cannot see forever. Any psychopath that tells you that has been indoctrinated to believe one of the most absurd notions ever put forward by mankind, other than rocks turning into fish. So you cannot see forever, and we have curved eyes, curved retinas. We, of course, see in curved visual space. We have a limit to our perspective. We can only see so far, and we have a 360-degree field of view. Okay, just covering some of the basics here. This is my boy Shane, Anti-Disinformation. He's on BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey. You guys should definitely check him out. A lot of his stuff will be in this stream, and let's hear what he's got to say. Oh, you guys can't hear it? You guys can't hear it? That's gonna be such a bummer if you can't hear it. No sound. I see it. Let's see if we can get that fixed here, because if we can't, which we may not be able to, I may have to do an entire screen. That's okay. We'll just do it. It wouldn't let me upload it, unfortunately, because hopefully this will work. If something sounds bad, you guys are gonna have to tell me because I'm sharing the entire system's audio, but it's all I can do to get the sound. Um, okay, let's see if it works. You guys keep me up to date. Oh my gosh. So someone's saying they can hear it, and some people are saying that they can't hear it. So someone's saying they can. Okay, this is super annoying. You guys got to get the sound, so we're gonna have to figure it out. All right, I think what I can do though is I can make it a link. I'll share it to myself, and we'll share the tab. Sorry, I don't know. That is one thing that sucks about StreamYard is if you share a window, an individual window, it doesn't let you share audio. Okay, let's get this worked out here. In a world, in a world. It's okay. We needed to give the Globers a moment. No sound on the window you're sharing. Yeah. I get it. It was sound an option. Slideshow. All right, I think we're good. We're loading up. Hopefully everyone gets it so far. Pretty simple, but I'm going to really make sure that it clicks with everyone. This is basically a death blow to the globe. It's pretty unfortunate for them, but such is life. Such is life. I already checked it though. That's what I'm saying. Like at the bottom on StreamYard, if you just share a specific window, it doesn't share the audio. And it's saying that the PowerPoint is too big to just upload into StreamYard. So what can you do? You guys couldn't even hear it when I shared the whole. That's so weird. It's loading right now. Can't hear it. See if it worked. What in the world? Can't believe that. Can't hear it. See if it worked. Okay, I think we're good. Let's try to share it. Okay. Hopefully this works. Bro. In a world where they are hating. No video sound. I know, I may just have to, like, not have sound, but that's just really gonna suck. What is going on, bro? They had to stop it. They had to stop it. They couldn't handle the gravy. Look at this. What is going on? It's not even showing anything for you guys. That's crazy. I'm about to just play it without sound, and it's really unfortunate. I'm salty. Maybe I should just freestyle. Clip it out. Forget it. We'll do it live. What in the world, bro? All right, we're about to just do it the way we were doing it with no sound. Fight me. All right, it's all good. I'll just narrate most of it. Doesn't matter. It had some music and stuff, and I think the music was cool while you're just watching the visuals. But whatever. Oh, we need the sound. We have to have the sound. What's up, Austin? Always good to see you online spitting knowledge. It's one of my favorite pastimes. Killed him in the last 2 debates, by the way. Keep up the great fight. Thank you, T Baggins, for the $10 super chat and the kind words and support. Your internet's been acting up. I don't know. Bruh. And you couldn't even hear it when I shared the that's what's so crazy is like you couldn't even hear it when I shared my entire screen share system audio. I'm guessing you still can't hear this. I'm guessing you still can't hear this. Ugh. See if you guys can hear this next one. Oh man, I'm so salty, bro. That's why I was saying you guys have got to be able to hear it because it's so funny. All right, we're just gonna present it without the sound, and I'll play the video for you anyway. But I'm sorry for the delay. That's super lame. Who would have thunk it? There it is. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Let's get back into this presentation. All right, so Shane was just basically explaining how you can see here that it shows you all the positions from the south. And if you know, of course, you got South America, Africa, and Australia. This is like their favorite little argument that you wouldn't be able to see the stars, blah, 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 blah. Is it in the headphones? Yes. It's supposed to share everything I hear. All right, anyway, so these are all the positions. Now, what this next scene was, we'll play right
Walter
here.
says light would have to bend for that model to work. Bendy light rays. My daddy MC Tune said light can't bend that way. Stupid flurf. Ben. D. Light. Rays. Ah.
So there is the Glober's argument back, and that is not a straw man. So just so you know, okay, if you go back here, this is what the Glober's argument against the azimuthal grid is. It's because they need to say something, and he couldn't come up with anything because if they don't come up with something, dude, this is a death blow. Explains every observation. So he puts these goofy little rays on here with arbitrary positions of stars, and he's like, "Oh, light would have to bend so impossibly," and then they all repeat.
Walter says light would have to bend for that model to work. Bendy light rays. My daddy MC Tune said light can't bend that way. Stupid flurf. Ben. D. Light. Rays. Ah.
All right. So we had a Glober be nice enough to submit a video so we could hear their position. All right. So here's basically how you can look through your azimuthal grid. So here is how the azimuthal grid works. I put this little video together for you to understand it. So as you see, you look out forward, you have a curved visual space limit ahead of you. Of course, this would be you looking up on the right. If you looked up, this is what you would see. You have a curved visual space, an azimuthal grid of vision. Here is the depiction of how that is established. So you have your zenith directly above you. The line that connects through that is called the meridian. You then have your celestial object or your star, and you take an altitude angle to that star. Of course, in order to do that, you establish your azimuth on the horizon. Your azimuth is the direction established on the horizon. You take your altitude angle to the star. And what you get when you do this is you'll end up mapping out positions all around you, right? And you'll get a dome. This is called an azimuthal grid. It's based on real life angle measurements to the sky. And that is how we map out the sky. That's even how Time and Date and Stellarium does it. The Globers take this fact that that's how we map out the sky with a flat horizon mapped out to the azimuth angle. We take altitudes from that and we make an azimuthal grid, and then they try to force it down a globe's throat. And in fact, this is how they engineer the globe. I take hijacking our perspective. Okay, so now you guys know what an azimuthal grid is. Hopefully that makes sense. Pretty simple. So maybe you're like, what's the azimuth? The azimuth is just the direction on the horizon. You're establishing your direction. You guys, obviously north, south, east, west. Establish your direction, and of course, you have your zenith above you. You take your altitude from that horizon in front of you with your direction established with your azimuth. So your azimuth and your zenith. You have 360-degree field of view all around you. That gives you a dome. Here is another depiction so that you fully understand. Anyone denying this is denying objective reality and how we make measurements of the sky. So again, you have your zenith, you have your horizon. That would be you establishing your direction with your azimuth, and then you're taking altitude measurements up from that, and then you're going to map that in all directions, 360. You get an azimuthal grid. Here is the observer and what he can see so that you understand it. You have, of course, 360 degrees all around you. This is how we see the world. Any single, and all the people that are like, the dome is too close to the surface to work. Pump the brakes, man. Pump the brakes, man. Trust me on that one. So anyone that denies this aspect is denying reality. This is how we see. It's just objective. We have a 360-degree field of view. And when we map out angles within this 360-degree field of view, we get a dome. We've seen a dome. Okay. Let's move forward. Again, here's another depiction. Again, you have your zenith. I want to really drive this home, make sure everyone understands. Pretty simple. The observer standing in the middle, like right here. Okay. You're standing in the middle. You could turn around and you can see a certain distance in all directions, 360 degrees. This is how you're seeing inside of this curved hemisphere, if you will. And of course, we're going to take our position to the star based on our azimuth. So an angle up from the position on the horizon, establishing your direction, called the azimuth. And of course, you have the zenith right above you. Okay, now, simple proofs of the fact that this is obviously how we see. I did see a generous membership gift in Un Mundo. Indeed, Vin Live. Thank you for the $2 super chat. I don't know where's the gifted. I saw that you gifted. Thank you, Lisa Severe. I don't want to missay your name, but gifted 5 Miswits memberships. Very generous. Hey, thank you for the membership gifts. So if whoever captured them. You guys, welcome to the Miswits. Shout out to Lisa. What a legend for doing that. Greatly appreciated. Okay, let's move on. All right, so this is how we see. Here's some proofs, pretty simple proofs. So these clouds are obviously not actually going down to the earth. The clouds don't come meet the earth. They just look like they're going down to the earth. Those clouds aren't actually going down to the earth, though. It's just inside your azimuthal grid of vision. It looks, once it reaches the edge of your vision, the limit here, it's going to look like it's going down because it's on a curved limit of your visual space. So that's why it looks like it's going down. That's how perspective actually works. Not this, let's draw straight lines from our eyes standing outside from a third person view. And oh man, I know how to do 7th grade math. Doesn't mean anything. Here's another example, which is hilarious. Shout out to Clay. Show me this. I guess the clouds are going behind the curve of the earth. Or maybe it's simply perspective and things drop down in the distance due to perspective and how we view in our azimuthal grid of vision. Isn't that probably what's going on? Or the clouds are on the earth. I don't know which one. Here's another depiction so that we understand this is just a product of perspective. They have hijacked perspective in how you see the world, claim that it's a ball with straight lines coming from your eyes. Pretty simple trick, but also very effective because it was engineered on observed phenomena. So you can always point to the observed phenomena, and ignorant people think that proves the model. Okay, let's move on. So here's where it gets very interesting for the ballers. It's going to be okay. I promise. The fact that the Earth's not a ball isn't the end of the world. A lot of us kind of had this visceral reaction at first. That's crazy. That's stupid. Wow. I can't even imagine something like that being true, something that big and crucial and fundamental or foundational to everything I think I know about where I live and stuff. Like, that's insane. It's going to be okay. I promise. We're all here with you. We all went through it. It actually becomes a realization that it's a beautiful truth. It's really not that huge of a deal. Sure, people are going to ostracize you, but just look around. People were scared of the air for 3 years. Do you really want to fit in with everyone else at this point? All right. So here is a phenomena called anti-crepuscular rays. Now, according to the globe, these rays are parallel. And when we look over here, we see that 180 degrees away, we see it look like it's converging down to a point. These are called crepuscular rays and anti-crepuscular rays 180 degrees away. Okay. So even the globe has now been forced to acknowledge this. Has been forced to acknowledge the 360-degree field of view azimuthal grid of vision. And based on perspective, it looks like it's doing something that it's not behind you, basically wrapping around you, giving you an optical illusion of convergence where it's actually not, where it looks like there's a point here that isn't actually there. Moving on. Here is another example. You have the crepuscular rays. We're going to pan the camera over our head, then back down to the horizon, and we're going to see the anti-crepuscular rays. Okay. Now, this is also very interesting. So you look at the crepuscular, you have the anti-crepuscular. Now, this is a depiction here. You see what the light is doing. Optically, it looks like it's curving over top of your head, right? It looks like it's a dome, like it's curving over your head. Now, the globe Earth claims that these are parallel, and they just look like they're converging to your left, look like they're converging to your right. They shouldn't be curving over the whole sky. They should look completely flat over top of you. Fundamental difference in understanding here. It once understood, this is a irrefutable death blow to the globe Earth model. And that is the irony of everything. Fed Up Gear, thank you for the $20 super chat. Brother, much love. Wow, very generous. Mike does. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Much love. Thank you so much. And I see, where's it at? There we go. Very generous super chat. Charlie, thank you for the $50 super chat. All generous super chats. Thank you guys. Much love. Greatly appreciated. It would be awesome to be the stupid. Congrats, guys. But you won't offer any type of actual rebuttal. We basically use you as an example of what not to be. Okay, so we have crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays. Again, on the globe Earth, we must claim that these light rays, this is an optical illusion. They're actually parallel from 93 million miles away. And it just looks like it's converging on the other side, but the sun is 180 degrees behind us. So even the globe Earth has to claim a 360-degree field of view optical illusion with anti-crepuscular rays. Very simple stuff. Okay, and again, it should be straight over our head on a globe. Here is another example. Now let's let the meteorologist that thinks we live on a ball tell you himself. Oh, you can't even hear it? Oh my gosh. I'm so salty about that. I'm just going to repeat it. So he just proceeds to talk about, he said, the weather's been very warm, but what happened Sunday appears to defy logic. And he's like, it appears like the sun is right here, but we know, of course, the sun sets in the west directly behind us. This is called anti-crepuscular rays. So yeah, it seems to be emanating behind the mountains, converging into a point, but actually it's just an optical illusion and it's 180 degrees behind us. This is the meteorologist saying it. I'll release the there it is again. I'll release the PowerPoint. It's very unfortunate that you guys can't hear it. So again, just to understand what it is that they say that the light rays from the sun are basically like these railroad tracks, right? And this is just the optical illusion of convergence, right? If they keep going the distance, they're going to appear to converge. So they claim that these rays are actually like railroad tracks. So if I look this way, I'll see optical convergence. If I look behind me, I'll see optical convergence. But in reality, they claim that they're parallel, right? Now, if I step back from this phenomena, I should never see them curving. According to them, they should be parallel. Like if you stand in the middle of a railroad track. You stand in the middle of this railroad track and you look this way, then you turn around and look the other way. Well, you see the railroad tracks close to you are 180. Now, another problem is this has to go over your head because we see the light over our head then come back down optically to the horizon. We will get into that though. It's going to get bad for the Glovers, honestly. Unfortunately, you guys can't hear it again, but this is another weather channel talking about the anti-crepuscular rays. And here they explain the sun calc, and look how they calculate our optical perspective of the sun on a globe. Suncalc.org. This is the weather channel explaining anti-crepuscular rays and how it's just an optical illusion. And look at how we perceive the sun according to the official explanation from the globe. Yeah, isn't that interesting? It's almost like we have an azimuthal grid of vision that forms a 360-degree field of view dome in all directions. If you deny this as a globe earther, you deny your entire belief system and you must now do away with the globe anyway. If you don't understand that, rewatch the stream, I guess. So he explains that pretty simple. So again, to remind you, the observer has 360 degrees all around him. That's how we view things, even according to the globe. That's the only way the globe could explain these anti-crepuscular rays, right? Which is why they show it to you. Again, suncalc.org, timeanddate.com, azimuthal grid of vision, including on stellarium. Okay, now how interesting is this? And this is where we are going to really lay this out. As you see in the top left, you got a dome, and you see these two lines appear to move in towards each other. If you look on the right, you also see this light appear to bend towards the top of the dome, towards each other, curving. Now, if you look very closely here, this is a real picture of the Earth. You will see light rays coming up from down below, coming up, curving over, and coming back down. Wow. How's that work on the globe? I thought that this was an optical illusion. These were all parallel rays. Okay, then they must just converge. They can't curve, though. So why are they curving? Now, of course, in a personal dome of vision, more specifically an azimuthal grid of vision. That is exactly what you would see. Oh, what a coincidence that exactly what we would see is literally what we see on the Earth. Now, this is a personalized grid of vision. Okay. It's nothing to do with the dome over the whole Earth. The dome wouldn't be that small, would it? Okay. This is our personalized dome. I need all the flat earthers to listen, please. You guys have got to get this. This is the end of the debate, definitively. All right, let's check it out again. Look, this is just a dome. Now we'll be doing further demonstration observations and experiments, breaking this all down in the future with different angles and different effects and phenomena replicated. This is a real picture of the Earth that shows the curve. They should be parallel, only optically convergent. They should in no way be curving in a singular line down to an optical illusion of convergence down on the horizon on a globe. Here is what it would look like exactly in a personalized dome of vision. Let's move on. Now here is a bunch of different phenomena on the earth that we see that correlates with this, oftentimes invoked by flat earthers as evidence of a dome over top of us. But in reality, it seems to actually be a product of our personalized azimuthal grid of vision. Okay. It is our personal azimuthal grid all around us. We perceive everything through that curved limit. Okay. And we've demonstrated that, and we're going to continue to do it. There is no other way that we see things. We have curved eyes. All lenses replicate the eyes, and they are curved. Everything we use for optics is curved. We live in a world that views life through curved visual space. Okay, now let's watch this video, and we'll move on from there. I'm sorry that you have no music, but of course, you have the perihelia here. You have, of course, crepuscular rays, and as we covered them, we also have anti-crepuscular rays. Here we have a very interesting effect, and I really want you guys to pay attention here. You see this before, right? Everyone knows about sundogs and halos. I want you to pay attention to this, though. So, first of all, the globe Earth claims that this is because there are ice crystals in the sky. Now, they don't explain how that gives you this shape, though. Again, these light rays are parallel. The only optical effect is perspective, Euclidean perspective, that makes it converge like a railroad track. So why is it curving? Why is it curving? And more importantly, and I hope you guys are putting this together, why is this starting to go the other way? Why would that happen? Very interesting. So we have the curve around it. Now this is a moon dog. So we also see them with the moon. Okay, which is very interesting. But we perceive everything through our personal vision. Now, these are in Minnesota and in Poland and in South America. They're all over the world. Okay. Now, this is, of course, at night. This is a moon dog. This is from an observatory. And if you look, oh, I wonder if it got cut out. It might have got cut out. Anyway, sorry. But this actually shows the moon in the part that I accidentally cut out, I guess. At the right edge over here, it shows a moon dog. Okay. These are going super fast. Here's another one. Here's another one. Now, what's up with that? That's pretty interesting. It's almost like now I might need to come over here and talk to you guys. Look at the circle, okay? Why do we see a circle above us? Why are rainbows actually circles? Why are rainbows circles? Okay, follow me here. Actually, I have a depiction I should just show you. I'm going to upload it real fast. It's better for me to just show you. Okay, here we go. Now we have a personalized dome of vision, curved visual space, right? This is how it would look looking up. You see here on the left, you of course would have circles on the interior of the azimuthal grid that are getting smaller and smaller and smaller as it goes up. So this is what you would see. You would literally see circles based on the edge of the dome that you see. So the right is what you would see looking up. The left is what you would see from the outside. You would have circles that get smaller and smaller going up. What a coincidence, huh? So here we go. We have circles. That's what rainbows are. This is for sure how we see the world. And it is the only thing that even offers explanations to these phenomena. All right. Here we go. Another beautiful shot. Now, again, what you notice is it goes up and creates a second layer. So why is it starting to go in the opposite direction? What's up with that? Why is it beginning to curve at a different layer in an opposite direction? And the dome is not this, if there's a dome on the earth, it wouldn't be this small. Now, it's technically it could be possible an optical effect based on the reflection relative to the angle and the distance and the size based on the different things that would make it look like this. But we know we see life through a personalized visual space that's curved. Okay. So I'm not saying that was a rainbow. I'm saying rainbows are circles. Surely you guys know that. Okay, so anyway, I want you to pay attention. This is just based on how we're perceiving the light, and whenever there's enough stuff in the, whether it be dust or fog or whatever, we're able to see our imposed limit of curved visual space. We're actually able to see the curved limit of our visual space, our azimuthal grid. This is a byproduct of personal perspective, and we can actually test this by going to different angles and seeing what it looks like. This is actually a time lapse over a long duration of time that the halo stays there. Well, of course it does because the camera stays there. Here we go. Look at this. Layered, go in the other direction, and it's extending to above you, and it would in theory go all the way around you. And rainbows look like they are in a dome, but of course you can see them from above and they'll be circles. I think this is actually the wrong video. I'll play the other video in a little bit, but I guess the point here is you see that's the important point. It's curving backwards. Now, the globe cannot explain this. The globe claims that it's ice crystals. Ice crystals, bro. But they never explain how that maintains this shape or how it even establishes the shape. How do ice crystals give you this shape, though? These light rays should be all parallel. And when they look like they're converging, it's just perspective. So why are the ice crystals creating a dome? And then why are they going the opposite direction? There is no even official explanation. There is no way to explain that with ice crystals on a globe. You can explain it with our curved visual space, azimuthal grid of vision. And again, we can time lapse these. And I have another video that shows the time lapse. We have time lapses of these where they don't move. So, ice crystals stay static and stationary and then maintain a shape of a dome and then layered outside of it with the same geometry and then go in the opposite direction at the top of it. No, that's not possible. That is an impossible explanation. This makes perfect sense if we understand that we view everything through an azimuthal grid of vision personal to the observer. I wonder if this is the right one. Same one. Okay. Now, here we go. This is, of course, why we see that. What a coincidence, huh? This is why we see that. This is not the dome over the earth, though. This is how you see. This is an azimuthal grid of vision relative to you. That's why we see this. Okay. This is over each person. That's why this will change relative to the position of the observer. All right, moving on. Again, you see this curved and then optical convergence down. Now, this is supposed to, again, be parallel rays all over top of you, looking like they converge down. But of course, if I take this point here of optical convergence, draw it over my head, and then back down, I get a dome. Well, we literally see the dome here, which makes perfect sense, understanding the azimuthal grid of vision. And of course, here he says light bend via atmosphere. This is my boy Iru. But it's actually just an optical effect. It appears to bend via our limited perspective. And then when we combine that with, when we combine understanding that with this, okay, we have circular eyes. We have visual curved space. There's no other way that we could possibly see the world. Physically speaking, we have curved retinas. We have curved optics with everything that we use, even pinhole cameras. Everything is curved. That's how we see the world. We have diffraction interpreted through a curved, concentrated point. Okay, so we have curved retinas, curved eyes, see the earth and everything in the world, and curved visual space. We have an azimuthal grid of observability vision, 360-degree view. And I know I'm saying these terms a lot, but I want them to click with you and for you to understand them. Now, when you add the Atmos, what you're doing is effectively throwing this in front of your eye or putting glasses on. You're exaggerating the effect of your curved visual space, how you visually see in curved space. You're exaggerating that with the Atmos, acting like a lens. Exaggerates it. That's why when it's clear outside, you can see further. That's right. Contrary to the baller saying, that's when everything is refracted and lifted up over a ball. Okay, let's keep going. Now, if you see here in the top right, you will see, look at that. The arrow goes the opposite way because of the water. And of course, you see the light in the fish tank. Now, what it's actually doing is it's actually exaggerating and exemplifying how we perceive the world through curved visual space. It's an optical effect. There is no physical bending of anything. Okay. Now, again, here we have the crepuscular rays, comes back around to anti-crepuscular rays. And here is a depiction, right? If you have, again, you would have curved light over top of you. And now it just looks this way because that's how you view the world. And here you have counterclockwise movement and then clockwise movement based on which way you're looking at a rotation through your curved visual space, personal to you. Well, that's exactly what we see with the southern stars. It's exactly what we see. If you look in the top left here, you will see, I cannot believe that there's no sound. I'm still so salty about that. Sorry, I was seeing if the trying to see if the other PowerPoint's working. Let me see if it is. Maybe you guys can get some sound.
Walter says light would have to bend for that model to work. Bendy light rays. My daddy MC Tune said light can't bend that way. Stupid flurf. Ben. D. Light. Rays. Ah!
Oh, sorry, I was accidentally muted. All right. Now we're going to cover the next scene. Hopefully you guys can hear it. So check out what he says.
Okay, so watch this. There it is. Sun's above your head and then it sets. One more time. That's exactly what is happening, okay? Let's change latitudes now and let's go to the North Pole. If you go to the North Pole, the North Star would be directly above your head at your zenith. So if this is the latitude of 45 degrees, because if the equator is, okay, so watch this. See now it arches. It's going this way because the sun is at the degrees. The North Star would be here, okay? So if you're at 90 degree north, the North Star is 90 degrees above your head. 40 degree, then it's 45 degrees above your head. Now if you're at the equator, the North Star would be directly 90 degrees. You wouldn't even be able to see the North Star if you go past the equator. See? Watch, I'm going to show you. But first, you're going to see how it looks. See, now it arches. It's going this way because the sun is at the equator, but you're not at the equator. So the sun doesn't go directly above your head. It does this arc. It does a curve instead of a straight line. So the sun would never do a straight line at the North Pole. It would always go around you, and the sun would never do a straight line going above your head. The sun would always be turning at the horizon at the North Pole. So the sun never sets in Sweden and Scandinavia during the summer. It keeps going around the horizon, and it's never above the head or below the horizon. It's at the horizon. Sometimes it's twilight where the sun is below the horizon, but even though it's below the horizon, you still get light because it's not a ball. Well, peep this out, guys. This is very interesting here. Look what happens when we go past the equator and we go to the South Pole. Boom. The South Pole is near the horizon. It's never above your zenith unless you go to the South Wall, which we're not allowed to go there. So no one ever takes pictures of the South Pole directly above your head except for the Army. And that South Pole going the opposite direction is just a reflection. This dome is reflective, and as that turns this way, like that, this goes the other direction.
I told you that this was quite literally game over for the globe, and it explains every single celestial observation. I'm not joking. Okay, I wish that it would. It won't let me. It doesn't matter. We'll just do it like this. And I had to find clips of other people explaining certain things because I can't show you the model through PowerPoint, but I'll pull the model up and explain everything to you guys in just a second. It explains everything. So thanks, Walter. Okay, let's check this out. All right, you gotta pay attention. Of course, PAD here stands for Personal Atmospheric Dome. And in reality, the light is not even physically bending. It's an optical effect. This is a very key component. This is the missing piece to flat Earth. Okay, now I'm sure you guys have seen this nonsense. This is not a Professor Clown show here. Saying, how could all these three observers see the Southern Cross at the same time if they're all looking in different directions? And so many people think this is a slam dunk against flat Earth. Well, not so fast, buddy. First of all, these are improperly drawn angles. They are not looking this way at all. So keep in mind what this looks like. See where this guy's looking way out here, this guy's looking way out here, and this guy's looking way out here. They can't see what you're showing in reality at these positions, looking at these angles. That's not what happens in reality. So let's look at what happens in reality. Okay, so they're seeing them not directly south, but two of the observers are actually seeing them southwest. Okay, which is what we would expect. Let's go on to the next one. Now, here are the actual positions of what you see from those locations. Now, as you can see, if you look real close, and I hate that it's not bigger. I'm sorry, it won't let me play it. The positions are different. Look right here, and right here. We have a bigger visualization in a second. And look at the different times, 5 a.m., 11 p.m., 6 p.m., and you see them in completely different positions. So it's not some one place you look down at the bottom of a ball and you see it. The irony is that this straw man is about to backfire so hard on the globe, we're going to demonstrate it's actually impossible on the globe. It's only possible on a flat Earth with a personalized azimuthal grid. All right. So one of the questions that everyone wants to know and wrap their mind around, Sigma Octantis, how does it quote unquote maintain its position and stay in the sky? Now, first of all, they say you can't see this star with the naked eye, but telescopes have seen it, observatories have seen it. Well, that's convenient. Let's just say it's real and that you can't see with your naked eye, but it's really there. Let's just say it is. Doesn't matter. Doesn't help you out. It doesn't stay in the same place. It moves in the sky. Okay. It completely moves in the sky. It does not stay in one place. It changes position in the sky. How does that work? How's that work? Okay, let's move on. Oh, wow. Okay, so to make sure that you fully understand it, just like these anti-crepuscular rays appear to be converging to a point, this rotation over top of you, all going around Polaris, you look south through your personalized azimuthal grid of vision, it looks like it's going the opposite way due to perspective through the azimuthal grid, and it looks like it's converging into a singular point, just like anti-crepuscular rays. It quite literally has to be the case because we see it happen everywhere else in nature. That's why we have a specific point of convergence, which again actually changes position in the sky relative to the observer and the time. Oh, it's starting to look like this can only work on a flat Earth. Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. So again, we have the alleged home run that we have counterclockwise in the north, and we have clockwise in the south. Well, check it out. You have your personalized dome. Now, don't worry about the scale here. You see, this is what you would view just like with the crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays. You would see in the middle of your personalized view. Now, it's all relative to the actual stars moving over top of you in seemingly a plane. You're going to perceive this optical convergence in the middle, going straight, meeting in the middle, and then converging at a point on both sides of your dome relative to the motion above you. So, if we look at the crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays, they would meet in the middle. Because look, say we're at the sun setting. So we're looking in the west, we're seeing where the sun is setting. It looks like we have crepuscular rays. We turn 180 degrees over here, and we see anti-crepuscular rays. If we were to, now we follow them from side to side over our head. Remember the videos. Now, if we were to take them out, what they look like they're doing, and have them meet, right? Well, they're going to meet in the middle, and they're going to create a straight line where they meet. So this is a product of perspective. It has to be. We see it happen on the Earth with anti-crepuscular rays. There's no other explanation. This is what you would see. We see it with anti-crepuscular and crepuscular rays. They have to optically meet at a point. This is what you would get. This is what we see when we look at the stars. That is certainly not a coincidence. So hopefully this really clicks with you. Watch the stream back a few times. I'll make the presentation publicly available. Again, we're looking at the west. We have crepuscular rays. We turn 180 degrees behind us. We look to the east. We see anti-crepuscular rays. If we draw them from one side to the other, they're going to meet in the middle just like this, and you're going to get this straight line just like we do with the stars. Here you go, side by side. This is all a byproduct of perspective we see in 360-degree visual space. So now we have the stars moving over top of us. We're looking out. in each direction. Now, of course, we can't see the same stars from all these positions or something, but it doesn't matter. These stars are all moving in one direction over top of us. We're looking south in our azimuthal grid, and we're going to see an optical effect relative to our personal view. So this is what each observer is going to see because of the effect of the optical convergence down to your limit of the curved dome, if you want to call it that, so that it clicks with you. I don't want to call it that because, accurately put, it is an azimuthal grid of vision or observability. So again, here we go. You would have Polaris, and then you would have what they say is sigma octantis that can't be seen with the naked eye. The optical convergence, just like we have with the rays. Of course, you want to glitch out. So just like we have with crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays looking like they're meeting at a point, that's what this area around quote unquote sigma octantis is. It has to do that. It has to converge down to a point just like the crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays do. Boo. I'm hoping that this is really clicking with you guys. Once this clicks with you, honestly, this is just such a welcome to flat Earth. I hate to break it to you. Because we're about to explain. We've already explained one of the problems in brief passing as to why this actually debunks the globe. But we're about to get into a little bit more detail about that. So just kind of soak it in. I know when you first see it, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around for some people. I understand it. But once you really put together how the crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays work, I think it should help you click. Again, where you see the optical convergence, again, the optical illusion that there is convergence going the other way, because you're looking in the opposite direction of rotation, just like you're looking in the opposite direction of where the sun is. And then based on your curved visual space, like we see with sundogs and we see with halos and all this, you're going to have an optical point of convergence going around a singular point that people call sigma octantis. Okay, next. Now, here are the actual positions of these stars that they think is some type of home run. And they draw their arrows out south and act like it's a home run. Now, look, this is south right here. Now, look, this is a little off of south. You see the Southern Cross right here. Now, look where it is in the sky. You can look down here at the time, right? So if you see the time down here, we're going to keep the same time for every single observer. Again, you see the stars up here. Let's look at the next position. It's down here on the horizon at the same time. This is the part of the Southern Cross that people are bringing out. Why can they all see the stars in the same place in the sky looking in the same direction? Well, they don't. They actually don't. They see them south-southwest in different positions and angles in the sky at the same time. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Now look where this one's at the same time down here. This one is all the way up over to the right, very close to southwest. Okay, same time, same star. You see right here, this is the name of the star. You'll see that it's a star for every one of the slides. Okay. Now check this out. So we're going to look, if we look at different times, this is when we see the position of the star closer to south. I don't know if this is actually going to play something. Okay. Now, here you go. All observers see the same constellation while looking southwest. How does that work on a globe? Now, mind you, let me just make sure you guys are reminded. They claim they all look directly south. They see the same stars at the same time. They straw man where they're actually standing and looking and what they see. They say everyone sees the Southern Cross up at the sky, same stars, same place, same time, same direction. In reality, they do not. They see them again, same time, up here, down here, up here to the right. How does this work on a globe? We're here looking southwest. When we're looking at the actual direction that the actual observations are, the star is supposed to be, what's going on? Why are we not looking at the stars? Huh. So the globers got some explaining to do, I guess, because there's supposed to be optical convergence over the South Pole, right? This is supposed to be a circumpolar rotation on a globe. Yet here we are looking away from that area when we actually put the real data of the observations on a globe. Uh-oh. Looks like that backfired a little bit. I would love for this to play, though. How dare them? I'm not sure why it's not playing. They're hating. They're hating, cuz. All right, hopefully the rest of the videos play. Anyway, luckily the first thing you see is actually this point here. I would love to hear how this works. The irony of how this has totally backfired on them. This was their home run. Flirts are so stupid, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, feel free to enlighten me exactly how this works. I don't know why the videos aren't playing now. I may have to go back to the other screen. They're really, I'm not saying they're doing something, but like, this is really kind of lame. Okay, well, maybe you guys are supposed to soak that in, Globers. Incoming ad homs. I can feel it. Okay, back over here. Actually, what we're gonna do, I think we should listen to that one again just to make sure everyone gets it. It'll be okay. I forgot. I'm so sorry. I forgot you guys can't even hear it. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. All right, moving on. That's so lame to me that you guys can't hear it. I had it all made, looking all good for you. All right, here. At least you can see this visualization now. You guys can't hear the music, sorry. There you go. You see where the positions are. These are at the different times, right? 5 a.m., 11 p.m., 6 p.m. You see here that we're going through the actual positions. Now, of course, everyone should know this. You're constantly updating relative to north whenever you establish your directions of east, west, and south. Dun, 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 dun. I forgot you guys can hear it. It's going to be okay, Glovers. I promise. We're here for you. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Dun, dun, dun. Wow, look at the positions of the stars. It's almost as if you guys were just parroting nonsense and didn't even know what you were talking about. Wow, that's a surprise for me. I don't know about you, but I mean this explains every celestial phenomena. I wish you guys could hear the music. It's pretty epic. Here we go with Australia. You see it? wonder if you can. Okay, moving on. Again, here we go. This backfired, but you know what's new. If you're not new to flat Earth, you know it's kind of what happens every single time they claim to debunk flat Earth. So here we go with another visualization so that you guys fully understand. You see the stars. Now these are arbitrary stars that the dude just put on there. It doesn't really matter. It's about how people can see the same star from different positions. You have 6 p.m., 11 p.m., 5 a.m. with the actual star data instead of made up cartoons with arrows that aren't accurate. And all of a sudden it works perfectly fine and we have no issues whatsoever. What a shocker. Okay, let's move on. So here we go. Photographed from near the Arizona Sky Village, looking west to the setting sky. Oh, StreamYard will at least let me play music, I think. Tell me if you guys can hear the music that I play. Thanks, Walter. Thanks, Walter. Oh no, this is sound I'm playing through StreamYard. Okay, so really soak in that the ways, the directions are that you're looking. Arizona, Australia, looking south down here. Of course, see the way that the stars move. Oh, the beauty of taking the best alleged globe group and just shoving it back down heliocentric model's throat. There we go. Okay, very interesting. So here we go with the star trails mapped out in this program. And you see, if you're looking out over the plane, you see that you have just star trails all coming from Polaris. Now they say this is what it should look like on a flat Earth. They say that we should see. They say that we should see all of these stars just like this. Where can we find Walter? He's an anti-flat earther. You're not gonna find him. Are you talking about Walter Bislin? Yes. Yes. Crucify the globe. Yeah, we took it to the altar. Hey, tell him thanks, Walter. Now, once we add the Atmos in the program, you start to see that the star trails perfectly match everything now. It is important to fully grasp this part. So, in fact, this is, again, what I showed you. We have the personal vision, the azimuthal grid of vision, and then the Atmos. What does the Atmos do? The Atmos actually does this right here. So it exaggerates the effects of your personal grid. Just imagine taking a pair of really thick glasses. So take a pair of thin glasses. Now take a pair of really thick glasses, okay? And that you're putting the atmosphere on. You're looking through your vision. It's important to understand when we account for that in this program, immediately, all of a sudden, star trails that are all going in one direction around Polaris, the program makes them match reality. Wow, what a surprise. You guys see how it matches exactly what we see as soon as we account for our personal vision? So what he just said in the video, you guys can't hear it. This was Zach. He says, so perspective would help a little bit, but not a lot. Well, if you use this box, straw man, Muppet vision, step outside, draw straight lines from our eyes and pretend we know that there's just proportionate exact change forever, infinitely straight lines everywhere we can see forever, all this nonsense, whatever. That's not how we see. We see an azimuthal grid of vision, an arc of vision. We have curved visual space. I'm going to keep saying the phrases until we understand them, and this is literally the end of the globe as we know it. Not that that hasn't been the case for years now, but this is literally ripping 95% of their alleged evidence out of their dead hands and actually flipping it on them and then loading the mag and then unloading it. It's pretty brutal for them. Of course, we have the curved visual space. Again, the Atmos actually exaggerates and exemplifies that effect. And then what do we get once that happens? We get this. This is what we get. Look at it. Take it in, Glovers. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. All the stars radiating out from the center, all moving in the same direction. Here we go. Mapping it out. And we see, so again, just so you guys get it real fast, you see, this is what we see. We put it over top of the earth and we add the Atmos. And then, of course, that's actually exaggerating our personal limit of our view, because perspective is a real thing. You can't see forever. As insane as that is, people actually seem to think it's real for some reason. They actually think they're looking back in time with telescopes. So what can you do? This is what we get. This is not doctoring anything. This is just reality accounting for layering the Atmos with perspective. And when properly defined, you have an azimuthal grid, curved visual space. What a coincidence. All right, let's move on. So here we go again. So if you look here, you look through a dome and you have these concentric circles with the dome over top of it. What do you get? Oh, look at that. It makes the concentric circles look like they're warping around and then create an additional convergence point around a single area, just like we see in reality. Wow. Who would have thought? Almost like we can demonstrate it. So let's look and see how the stars would appear when we're looking at them through the atmosphere, through our azimuthal grid of vision. Wow. Look at what the dome. Now again, to make sure everyone understands, each observer has one of these. Okay, just so everyone understands. Someone asked, is it a dome inside the flat ceiling? Okay, we again, I want everyone to understand it. Okay. So there could be a dome over top of the whole Earth. It looks like we live inside a sphere. There's a toroid. Looks like there are layers to it, and that could effectively be interpreted as a dome. That's what it would be. We live on the plane. We see the top half of it. Sure, you can call it a dome. So of course, this is what you would see. Yeah, sure. Call that a dome. Call the top half of this a dome. That's cool. Sure. This is different than that. This is our personal vision. Okay. And when we look through our dome of vision, our azimuthal grid, which is literally the reason we know this is real is because we've taken angles to stars all around the Earth, and this is how they look from everywhere. We get our altitude angles, like I covered in the beginning, and we get an azimuthal grid. That's how we see the world, and we can prove this with railroad tracks and crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays and sundogs and halos and perihelions or whatever it's called. All of the celestial phenomena that we see shows us that this is how we see. There's no way around it. So, understanding that, you have the dome. Well, you would have, if you drew around the edge of the dome, you would draw circles. That's what you would get, and they would get smaller as you get higher. Okay, now this is just your personalized dome. You have circles inside of it. If there's a greater dome, well, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. We have a personalized azimuthal grid, provably. I'll have to check my PO box in the next few days. I get that I believe that there is like a celestial firmament, okay? But that's not what, this is about how we see the world, okay? Look, here's the demonstration. This is personalized to the observer. You have to understand, guys, if it was just one giant dome, then it wouldn't be the same perspective and ratio for every individual observer. This is how we personally see with an azimuthal grid. It's the missing piece to flat Earth. Flat Earth has got to absorb, understand, and then begin to integrate it into their understanding when they talk to people. Looking north, looking south, equatorial view. You think it's a coincidence that when we look at concentric circles through an azimuthal grid or a dome, that we get the very exact same manifestation? Of course not. Next, we're almost done, I think. It's like making me want to spit. No. Hey. I want you guys to pay attention. Yup. Look at the dome. Look at the dome. How we view home. Look at the dome. Look at the domes. Look at that, bro. You think it's a coincidence? Seeing an azimuthal grid. They hijacked perspective. They said that you lived on a ball. They took our consistent limits to view and perspective, reverse engineered it into presupposed physical convexity of a sphere with water bending convexity around the exterior via their god gravity coalescing it, holding everything into place, but we can't define or explain it. It's pretty simple. Turn around and be like, oh, the sky matches the globe is ridiculous. That's what made the globe. Look at this. Just take it in. You have a personal azimuthal grid. This is how we see the sky. They have nothing. This explains positions of eclipses, equinox positions, sunset positions, sunrise positions, moonset and moonrise positions, southern star trails position of all stars, everything. All right, let's check this one out. We're almost done. It's gonna slow down. Maybe if we get the globe or stick, though, we'll come back to reality. They are really moving. Oh yeah. Look at the stars to the right and the left. Yeah. This is how we view the world, ladies and gentlemen. So at the equator, we have this. Of course, now imagine being on a globe looking in a singular direction, standing on a globe that's spinning a singular direction, and then seeing stars simultaneously go in different directions. Of course, the Earth can only be spinning one way. So how do we look straight out at the equator and see this? Because we have an azimuthal grid of vision. This is how we view reality. You have concentric circles, a rotation going around the central point that is Polaris, all recorded history over top of you. And as you begin to look at the equator, look south, you'll see the optical convergence points within this azimuthal grid, which is why when you look at the equator, you see both sets of illusory rotations. If you took a time lapse of this, you would get the star trails that we just saw, of course. Okay. There's one more. This is the azimuthal grid, looking at the south, looking at the east. Or west, of course, the equator. This is impossible on a globe. We're looking in a singular direction while the Earth spins in a singular direction, and we're seeing multiple different rotations in the same direction, the same singular direction, of course. There you go. Here's a depiction for you. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, sorry if the music was loud. Perfect circle time lapses make perfect sense. Actually, I have gravy preset on that as well. Okay. This might let me. Okay, now look at what we just saw. Let me actually come over here, make sure you understand. Okay, so yes, we have star trails. Okay, now the cameras are actually engineered. You don't actually sit out there. It takes 2.5 hours to get star trails, right? Because I do them all the time. At least I used to. It takes 2.5 hours, and you can't touch the camera. You're definitely not tilted, wobbling, spinning, shooting through space, taking star trails. The ISS isn't going 17,500 miles per hour, going around the Earth every 90 minutes with all that change in pitch and angular direction constantly, 17,000 miles every hour, 5 miles a second, taking a time lapse while you see the lights on the ground, not moving at all, not being blurry, just all moving in a singular direction. That's all fake news because you can't even touch. If you've actually used a camera to take time lapse, you can't even touch it. And any little light that gets in the way messes up the whole picture. Takes 2.5 hours. Now, obviously, the stars don't do a full circle in 2.5 hours. So it completes the circles based on a program. That's why it's a specific setting in your camera, and it makes them circles. I think that they actually, as you get further out to the edge, they wouldn't be entirely perfect circles. So there you go. There's that. Anyway, so if you looked at the visualization that we just had, now look at the real stars. Again, just to make sure you guys really are grasping it. Here you go. If you're looking at the equator, you'll see them moving in both directions away. How does this happen on a globe? The globe can only spin in one direction. We're supposed to be swimming in stars, so we should see them all moving in one direction relative to singular position of the observer. Never, ever got an answer other than it's just panoramic. No, when you just look straight at the equator, you see them move diverge away from each other. That's impossible on a globe. And here you go again. Okay, now we saw this. Now pay attention to what the stars actually do. Let's compare it to reality. Why is it not playing? How dare them? Cannot play media. Oh well. That is the presentation. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go back through it real fast just so everyone gets the recap. Okay. Alright, super fast recap. Hopefully the music's not too loud. Let's get it. Okay. Eyes to see, all celestial phenomena explained on a plane Earth. You have the north and the south rotation, circumpolar rotation. They claim this is impossible on a flat Earth, only possible on a globe, that you're upside down on the bottom of the globe. Of course, seeing the south go clockwise, the north go anti-clockwise. We actually have, or counterclockwise, we actually have a model, thanks Walter. Everyone should coin that term, hashtag thanks Walter. He made it. It's called the Walter Bislin Flat Earth Dome Model. You can look it up. It explains all celestial phenomena on the Earth. You have the day, the path of the sun and the moon throughout the year. You have our observations of the sky through our azimuthal grid of vision. You have another azimuthal grid of vision depiction here based on the actual angles to Polaris, which is of course how we got the actual construct of latitude in the first place. And then they took the angle measurements to Polaris, took them on a plane, assumed plane Earth. They then put them onto a globe, and then they put them into a cylinder tube and then flattened them out and get the Mercator. So there we go. We see that the sun and the moon are changing positions relative to your position inside your azimuthal grid. And if you look, this is why the sun doesn't change angular size throughout the day, because it's not changing distance for you. So based on where it is in the sky, it's keeping a relatively similar distance relative to you because it's inside your azimuthal grid. So of course it doesn't change angular size greatly throughout the day. Here we go. Another depiction of it. Again, we'll go through the model again in a second live. I'll play this for you again just so you understand. This is like obviously a humorous take on the Glober's rebuttal, because the person that made the model, he said that it would be impossible. Sure, this would explain everything on a flat Earth perfectly, but light would have to bend in an impossible way. But again, in fact, the light is not physically bending. It is an optical effect, just like even in their own model. So they must concede this, because when you see railroad tracks, they're not actually converging in tangible reality. They're parallel, but they appear to converge. Same thing with anti-crepuscular and crepuscular rays. Of course, there's an optical effect of sun halos. So it's just an optical effect of perspective within your azimuthal grid. Some say personal dome, but I prefer azimuthal grid of vision. It's a very specific, technical, accurate, irrefutable position. And again, this is what the Glober's actual position is, just so you know. This is all you'll ever hear them say, is they'll gaslight you. The person that made it himself thinks flat Earth is stupid. He's mocking you. He's making fun of you. The person that made it himself said it wouldn't work. Light would have to bend in a way that's impossible. Bendy light rays.
Walter says light would have to bend for that model to work. Bendy light rays. My daddy MC Tune said light can't bend that way. Stupid flurf. Ben. D. Light. Rays. Ah.
Pretty funny. All right, here we go. Moving on. Just an idea of how you would look through your personalized azimuthal grid of vision. Here is a depiction I made for you so that you understand the actual process of getting the azimuthal grid of vision. So here you go, looking out. You can see it's relative to the individual observer. I'll drop this in my Telegram with the stream chat, as well as the PowerPoint. You ever seen it? That's how you get your meridian. based off of your zenith coming down from it relative to, of course, your azimuth. You have your altitude to the star that you take from your direction position on the horizon. That's called your azimuth. And you map this out in all directions, 360 degrees. And then you get, similar to my logo, actually, you get an azimuthal grid of vision just like you do inside of my logo. So, of course, the way that we see is fractal geometry of how the actual Earth is in entirety, and that is incredibly beautiful and also pretty common sense it would be that way, since every other aspect of reality is literally fractal, double toroid, vortexual. It's all the same. All right, moving on. This is how you see you have the zenith, you have the horizon, that's your azimuth, you have angles up, you take them in all directions. So again, it's relative to the observer, just so you get a different depiction of it here. It's how you see based on your curved limit of your eyes. Here's another depiction. You got 360 degrees all the way around you. That's a circle around you, a view. Here's another depiction of how we get the azimuthal grid. Of course, time and date, stellarium, and even the globe paradigm has to use this because this is what we actually get when we take real measurements. They took it. They said we're seeing actual positions that you can see forever, that there's no limit to perspective. They took this optical curve based on our limit, then applied it to the Earth and said that the Earth is curving and that it's a ball. Of course, we know for a fact that we see due to perspective effects like this, like the clouds in the distance look like they're going down. Of course, they're not actually going down. Of course, the clouds aren't actually touching the Earth here. So the sun's not going behind the physical curve either. It's just optical effects of perspective in the distance. Here we go with clouds moving away from you. If you look in the distance, you can actually see these clouds are going lower and lower because, again, you're looking towards the curved limit. And once you reach the limit of your perspective and it's curving down, there's going to be a convergence into a vanishing point based on your limit. Here is crepuscular rays. You turn around 180. Boom. You got anti-crepuscular rays appearing to converge down at the horizon. So if we look here, we take our point from what the rays are coming down from the horizon. So draw a point there. Then we're going to draw a line over our head. Do you see the light rays over our head? We're going to draw a light ray or draw a line over our head back down to the other point. What are you going to get? You're going to get a dome. And even the globe has to admit that. I haven't had one being able to even comprehend and respond to it yet. This is the death blow to the globe. Here is anti-crepuscular and crepuscular rays. Once again, you see the crepuscular rays going over your head, going back to the other side, 180. Anti-crepuscular rays, again, the globe has to claim it's an optical illusion based on perspective, giving you optical convergence behind you. Here you go once again. Fortunately, you guys weren't able to hear the newscaster. But here he is explaining that this is just an optical effect. There's, again, crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays. There's crepuscular rays. You turn around, the sun's actually setting over here. So these are, of course, the opposite way, 180. Well-known phenomena. The globe tries to claim that it is like railroad tracks, parallel, and they appear to be converging based on Euclidean perspective. But of course, that is impossible based on what we actually see, as we will cover in just a second. So here, again, the news is covering anti-crepuscular rays, and here it shows you suncalc.org. And of course, look how it depicts how we see the sun inside of an azimuthal grid, a dome. What a coincidence. We should see way different. We should see 9 degrees, parallel rays, evenly distributed across the entire side of the Earth, 12,000 miles. So what a cool story. The globe is fake news. They took your perspective and lied to you about where you live. Here again, to remind you. So if we look at the dome, we'll see that we actually get this convergence. If you look at the one on the top right, you will actually see that it'll be curving towards the center based on the light being perceived through this dome. Well, look, this is a real picture on the Earth on the bottom. And if you look closely, you can actually see it curving up from one horizon down to the other horizon. This has nothing to do with Euclidean perspective of parallel light rays from the sun 93 million miles away on a globe. This is us looking to our azimuthal grid of vision. Here's all the different examples. We'll play that again. I am going kind of fast, but I just want to recap. There you go. You see at the top, it's bending back up. It's going to keep going within your grid. This is actually a moon dog. I know a lot of people don't even know that those exist. But yes, you get them with the moon as well. Globe claims it's ice crystals. They don't explain how it maintains its shape, especially with time lapse, or how it even attains that shape in the first place. This circle, again, this circle. I know I'm going over it all again, but this is very important in my opinion. So you see the circle right here. This is, of course, once again, you looking through your personal vision of our azimuthal grid, or you call it a dome. You're going to have circles that get smaller and smaller as you draw around the edge of the inside, and that's why you see circles in the sky. Okay, moving on. Here is a beautiful sun log. And of course, you can see that it's actually layered. It has a different layer out even further out. And this will sit here for hours. You can actually take a time lapse. It'll sit there. Believe it or not, ice crystals don't sit static in this time lapse for hours. And here you go. You see it start to bend up the other way. Of course, makes perfect sense, understanding that we see in an azimuthal grid of observability. Here's a depiction of exactly what we see in the sky. The globe has literally no answer for it, and this directly refutes their interpretation of perspective. Thanks for playing. Here's another depiction right here. If you see that, you can tell that the light's clearly curving there. If you look right here, you'll see the arrow flip directions 180 based on the water, just like with the light. Now it's an optical effect, and we won't get into what light is, doesn't matter right now. But of course, if you look in the top right, you're going to see crepuscular, anti-crepuscular rays appearing to converge. They must meet in the middle. And so you're going to see them appear to move the opposite way with a convergence point in the center of this optical convergence point based on perspective. So you'll see them meet in the middle. Okay, and we can't hear this guy Crush. He basically just explains that if you move around, you'll actually see exactly where your positions of the sun is. When you move over to this closer latitude, you'll be at 45 degrees in the middle of the north, and the equator, of course, you'll be at 45 degrees looking at Polaris. It's exactly how we see. Everything matches it. Every single celestial phenomena perfectly matches what we see through our azimuthal grid on a plane. Literally all celestial phenomena can now be mapped on the flat Earth. Here's another depiction here. Now pay attention to the sun and the moon inside of your azimuthal grid. That's the sun and the moon that we see. Of course, that's not going to really change angular size. It's at the same limit that you have for that day, and that will always fluctuate relative to the atmosphere slightly, just like when you put glasses on. But once it reaches within that atmospheric limit inside of your azimuthal grid, you're not going to see angular size change, and you're going to see it appear to change in a slightly different direction. This is just the way that curved optics works. This is exactly why we see the sun appear to set where it does over top of a flat Earth. Okay, here's the infamous straw man of like, how can you see in all directions at the same time, see the same stars? These are not the directions these people actually see, of course. So we covered that. Here you go. They actually look southwest. When we keep going and look further, you see that these are mapped out for you where we actually see them at different times. You begin to see exactly where they are. I'll go further in detail on this some other time. Here you go. You have Sigma Octantis. And of course, if you look at the picture on the right, you'll notice that you actually have it look like it's going to a single convergence point optically. Same thing with Sigma Octantis, which is not even visible to the naked eye. Let's just pretend that it is real. It doesn't make much, it doesn't really matter at all. You're going to have it all look like it goes around a particular point. Okay, but you see that point goes up and down in the sky. Now let's actually check out what happens in reality. So again, if you look at the stars, and they do this on the equator, the north and south. This is exactly what we expect whenever we understand that this is what the crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays are doing. If they look like they're diverging away from a point on the horizon, both sides, and they have to meet in the middle, well, that's what the stars do. So each individual observer has a different perspective of the stars, and it will move in relative to their positioning. And this is why you have the convergence point, again, of Polaris and Sigma Octantis. Okay, here are the actual positions of the Southern Cross. You see it's up here, it's not quite south. You see it's actually really close to the horizon, not quite south. You see it's way closer to southwest, halfway up the horizon. These are all the same stars at the same time. Unlike the stupid straw man depiction that they paint, you'll see that the positioning being the same requires different times. And here he is actually mapping it all out, changing the positions, the different locations, different times. And you'll see that that changes their positions in the sky. They seem to want to leave that detail out of it. But, oh well. So when we look at where they actually are, of course, it doesn't work on the globe. How can each constellation be observed? How can all the observers see the same constellations while looking southwest? If we actually map this out on the globe, it doesn't make any sense. It should be, of course, the bottom of the ball rotating, creating the optical illusion of convergence around the circumpolar star. Of course, we don't actually see that, because if you draw southwest from those observers' positions, they won't even see that rotation where they're supposed to be. Uh-oh. Okay. We're going to go really fast. So here are the stars. You can match them up. They all match. And here's what the stars look like before we account for Atmos. Now, of course, what you're doing is, again, you're actually basically adding a lens to your personalized azimuthal grid of vision, which is why it exaggerates the effect. So it exaggerates the effect. And then once we account for this perspective effect, all of a sudden, all these stars that are moving in perfect circles, moving in one direction, east to west, which we know they do, over top of your head, all of a sudden, they begin to match the star trails perfectly in all directions. This is exactly what we see. We see them appear to go down into the horizon, even though they're over top of us, seemingly in a plane, because it's just an effect of an azimuthal grid of observability. Here's another depiction right here. What a coincidence. Oh, how dare you. Okay, there we go. Doesn't play. Who cares? And here I showed you guys an actual depiction of the optical convergence grid. It's not letting me play. It's all good. Here we go with another depiction. How you see. So you see the optical convergence left and right. And this is what we see in reality. Didn't let me play that either. But yeah, there you go. So eyes to see. If you have eyes to see and you can grasp the truth for what it is, you'll understand that they hijacked perspective. And they claimed that it was, in fact, the globe Earth by reverse engineering a claim of physical convexity based on how you view the world. And there you go. There you go. So that explains all celestial phenomena. How dare you? Let me actually do this. Let me see if I can find it. And what I'll do is I'll play that last video for you real fast because I got to step away for a sec. I got to use the bathroom. Don't make it weird. Okay, here we go. In a World, amazing episode. Thank you, thank you. In a world where they don't want me to play all the videos. All right, I found it. I'll make it weird. All right, cool. I'm going to play it for you. On a world. In a world. On a world. It doesn't explain the near perfect star trails through any possible PAD. Did I not just explain that? I could have swore I like just explained that, bro. First of all, you can have near perfect star trails all the way up to the edge of the azimuthal grid. So why are you saying that? What are you talking about? In addition, I just explained you don't actually see perfect star trails. You have a computer inside of a camera with a program that completes them into perfect circles. You only take 2.5 hours of footage. You don't actually sit out there for 12 hours or 24 hours. Anyway, and actually I've seen some that aren't perfectly circular. And of course, you would have perfect circles inside of an azimuthal grid. I just explained that as well. So until you get towards the edges, you could, especially with the Atmos, have some type of distortion. Again, you have perfect circles going up in the Atmos. So, and you can say it doesn't explain it or whatever, but it has to explain it because it's objectively how we view reality, because it can be proven in numerous different ways, like I just did. Okay. Boom. Now, since this is schooling the Globers, I'm going to play your own paradigm so you fully understand exactly how devastating this is to what you believe.
I want to show you guys this. Did you guys catch the sunset last night? It was stunning. We had these kind of picket fence shadows. We call these crepuscular rays. Now, here's the thing. Where do they come from? Well, we can look at something called the sun calculation angle and see where did the sun set? And apparently it set from our vantage point over towards Ohio. Now, last night, there were actually storms ongoing over Ohio right around 8, 9 o'clock between our sunset times here in D.C., which is what cast those shadows 237 miles away. So essentially, we were seeing the shadows of distant thunderstorms more than 200 miles, so like a 5-hour drive away. Very cool stuff. And my buddy Andrew, who was in Athens, Ohio, actually took this picture of anti-crepuscular rays. So he was looking east. These are the same shadows that cast all the way to D.C. So very cool stuff. A little bit nerdy, but you're learning something new today. Right now, it is 81 here in the nation's capital, 81 Quantico, 75 Manassas, 81 Annapolis as well. Tack on like 10, 15 degrees. That's what we'll have later on today. Dew point's already steamy at 72. So here's what you got to know for this forecast. A couple storms south and east today, especially near the northern neck, Anne Arundel County. Could be heavy rainfall, 1 inch or 2 in some locales. Drier tomorrow, but drier air is easier to heat up, so still scorching. Near 100 this weekend, and oh, guess what else? The mugginess returns. So like we said, about 96 in town today, 94 Manassas, 95 in...
Shut up.
Greetings and welcome to the Introduction to Astronomy. One of the things that I like to do in each of my introductory astronomy classes is to begin the class with the astronomy picture of the day from the NASA website, that is apod.nasa.gov/apod. And today's picture for March the 18th of 2020, well, it is titled Anti-crepuscular Rays over Florida. So what do we see here? Well, this is an image taken back in 2016. And we are seeing rays from the sun, but not looking towards the sun. The sun in this image is actually behind the photographer. And we are seeing the result of those rays from the sun traveling directly across the sky, following a straight line, but that will appear on the sphere as a big circle. So it'll seem like it's following a circular path on the sky, even though it's actually going straight. So they will appear to converge again off in the distance, exactly opposite the direction of the sun. So in this case, you can imagine the sun would have been off over on the other horizon, and then...
There you go. You get it. Now, what's so interesting is, again, when you looked at it, you saw that it's a curve. It's actually a curve. It's the same thing you see with sundogs. They don't even explain the shape, again. Okay, and I know flat earthers for years have been saying, look, it's proof of a dome because you can see the dome. You weren't wrong. It is exactly what you would see in the geometry of a dome. But specifically, it's personal to the observer. That's how you perceive what's in the sky, through your circular vision. And there's no other way. The fact they pulled this off is pretty impressive, but it's also pretty simple. They hijacked your perspective. They told you to draw straight lines from outside of your perspective, looking from the outside in third-person orthographic view. Draw straight lines. Here, do this trigonometry. I promise that's how it works. And flat earthers even been testing the globe like that. It gets worse for the globe once you understand it's hyperbolic. It's like, whoa, hyperbolic visual space, but that's for a different time. The point is that we see endless amount of phenomena that shows us that this is how we view the world. Right? There's no other way. And this is why even to map stuff out on the globe in Time and Date and Stellarium and suncalc.org, they use an azimuthal grid of observability because they have to. They hijack your perspective. And then they were like, oh, let's look at all the angles. Okay, well, everywhere we are, things look like they optically drop 1 degree per roughly 70 miles that we go. Now this starts to fall apart in the south. When they apply it to the globe for physical navigation and stuff, but it doesn't really matter. They're like, okay, let's engineer the globe, because that linear relationship is based on your eyes, right? Like what they're calling a linear relationship based on physical convexity of Earth curvature is a hijacking of your perspective. They engineered a globe with dimensions, and then they said that's where we live. And now their primary proof that we live on this globe is to go look at the very data and observations that they took, hijacked, and claimed made the globe. Like, They made the globe from what we see in the sky. To say, look, the globe matches the stuff in the sky, that proves the globe, is insane. It's actually insane. All right, look, here we go. Here's another
cool
video.
thing about Stellarium is it has this feature called an azimuthal grid, right? As soon as you activate this, you can see exactly how Stellarium works by plotting everything around you in this azimuthal dome in a grid format, you see? And then no matter where we go on the Earth, this grid comes with us, and it's how we are able to plot stars in the sky from any location on Earth. It's how Stellarium works. See?
How dare you make so much sense? So, okay, I hate that my presentation didn't just work because you guys would have got to hear everything, see everything in order. It took me a while to make that, so kind of a bummer, but it's all good. You know, here we are. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I really tried to be like overkill it so that you fully understand it, say it so many different ways. I don't know. I don't know if it worked. All right, let me check this super chat. Ron Diggity, thank you for the dollars. Thank you. I pretty much get it, but on a globe, would you not have the azimuthal view on a globe? Would you explain why this would not work on a globe, please? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, they took the azimuthal grid of observability or vision. That's how we get all of our angles. They took it and this is the primary difference. They said that we can see forever, that perspective never changes, and that it's this like perfect linear proportionate straight line out from your eye. It goes forever, and that there's no limit to how far you can see. And so we're seeing stuff where they actually are. We're seeing everything where it actually is. Now, when it comes to testing the curvature of the Earth, we never see anything where it is. No matter if we drive all the way to and it doesn't change at all. We never see anything where it is. But when it comes to the sky, we see everything where it is. Until the Selenian eclipse, then we don't see the sun where it is, or the moon where it is, or until we see Polaris too far south, and we don't see things where it is, right? And that would be because the atmosphere is so clear that you're able to see to the full extent of your azimuthal grid or personal vision, right? But when you have more atmos, then it's going to, again, be like that magnifying glass. It's going to exaggerate that limit to how far you can see, which is, again, you have circular highs. It just curves at your limit. Just like that's what all the angles show us. That's why. What they did was they take this, they say that you can see forever, and they claim that the reason that it looks like it curves down based on our perspective, is because actually perspective doesn't mean anything. There's no limit to perspective. You can see forever. It's the Earth curving that does that. Okay, so it's not that part debunks the globe. They used that, misinterpreted it, misapplied it, said there's no limit to perspective, hijacked your perspective effects, and then engineered a globe model, and then that's how they got the globe to match the observations in the sky, because the observations in the sky made the globe model by hijacking your perspective. The part that shows that it doesn't work in the globe, right, is where, for one, why is it not entirely symmetrical when it comes to the positions relative to the horizon, the angle relative to the horizon? In the north and the south. The north and south latitude should be completely correlative. Now, some say that they are, some say that they aren't. Followers are all over the place with that, so that doesn't matter. The real one is when we take their argument, they're like, oh, you're looking in each direction. Each person's looking south, and they can see the same stars at the same place at the same time in different locations. Well, that's not true. The stars are in vastly different locations. Like I just showed you, they're all over the sky, like high, low, to the right, and they're not south, they're southwest. So when we take the actual positions of the stars that we measure on the Earth from these different positions, and then we go put them on the globe, right? Because all at the same time we look at it, we see where they're looking. We go put those directions relative to those positions on the globe. It doesn't all face the South Pole where you're supposed to be seeing it on the globe. So ironically, the southern circumpolar rotation seems to actually debunk the globe. Because if I put all the actual directions that the stars are observed on a globe, it doesn't actually go to the star they're supposed to be observing. So that's why it debunks the globe. But what it really does is it exposes them, and it allows Flat Earth to truly understand what's going on. Now flat Earth can explain. Now, you don't go to the sky to prove the Earth. You physically test and measure the Earth. But now we understand. And now all celestial phenomena can be explained. So eclipses can be predicted and explained perfectly, which they really already could. We'll cover that sometime in the future. We're schooling the Glovers here. They probably still think eclipses can't be explained on a flat Earth. They think that you can't predict the location of where you're going to see them on the flat Earth. All this nonsense. They act like you need the heliocentric model. They use the Earth center, Earth fixed model. Yeah, that's based on a globe, but they reverse engineer the sky that's been recorded for a long time, and you can't predict exactly where you see it. But anyway, this explains eclipses, like where you observe eclipses. This explains who all can see the sun on the equinox, how the sunset doesn't appear to match our positioning, right? So it doesn't match our positioning on the Earth, where we see the sunset doesn't seem to match on the plane Earth until you understand and you run it through the azimuthal grid and it matches perfectly. It just shows you that you see it slightly different and it doesn't change angular size because it's such a limit. So now you can explain the position of the sunrise, the sunset, the moonrise, the moonset, the position of observability, who all can see it on the equinox. You can explain the southern star trails, the positions of all the stars, the declination of the stars, the 69 miles per degree relationship with how you view the sky. You can explain everything now. You can explain rainbows, and even why rainbows are circles. You can explain sundogs, sun halos. You can not only can you explain all celestial phenomena, all of it. Now you can explain all kinds of celestial phenomena that the globe can't explain, including the southern star rotation, which was their home run. It was their home run. So this is a major, major win for True Earth. And when new people hear what the reality is, actually look. We take the stars, we look at it. It does make sense on the plane because we understand. Look, crepuscular rays. You can explain it simply with just, did you know about crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays? Like, it's just an illusion. You know, you understand that's how it looks. You can explain to them basic perspective. That's how we see things, like a sundogs and stuff. We see in this little dome, and that's how we get all of our measurements. You can explain that to them. Like, okay, well, when we put that over the plane Earth, everything makes sense. We can predict everything that we see. Now, technically, it's a post-diction because we've already seen all of it, but the globe tries to call it a prediction. Well, okay, then we can predict it too, right? But actually, when we look at the positions, they don't match the globe based on the directions that they're observing the stars. When you put it onto a sphere, like, why does it not actually point towards where they claim that this rotation is over the bottom of a continent on the bottom of a sphere? So there you go. Any questions, I will answer because I want everyone to get it. Globers, by the way, like, no matter what, they're just going to do that. Like, no matter what.
Walter says light would have to bend for that model to work. Bendy light rays. My daddy MC Tune said light can't bend that way. Stupid flurf. Ben. D. Light. Rays. Ah.
It doesn't matter what you say. Like, they're going to say that no matter what. Right. So like unless someone's open to the truth and actually wants to know, and they're like, oh, well, like the position of the sun was kind of tripping me out. The southern star trails were tripping me out. When they actually want to be honest, well, a lot of them will just keep saying
the light would have to bend in an impossible way for the model to work in reality. You stupid flurf. So, you know Walter's model better than him? That is why you are so top left. Stop saying thanks, Walter. Bendy light, bendy light, bendy light, bendy freaking light. Ben! D! Light! Rays! Read my lips! Freaking bendy light rays!
What's your theory on why magnetic north is moving so fast? Well, like, really boiling down, like, actual magnetic north is not an easy task when you actually look at what we're allowed to fully map and understand based on declination anywhere on the Earth, based on our inability to fully map out the center. But yeah, I think that there's just natural precession to the magnetic field. I don't know why there wouldn't be, right? I'll have to like give you a more thorough answer in the future. I don't know. It's a perplexing phenomenon for everyone on the Earth, to be honest. And honestly, I don't just take all this like misinterpreted data at face value. When you look into that, it's not nearly what it is presented to be. Thank you for the super chat. Very concise and detailed presentation of the truth about what we see. Thank you. Thank you. Question and answers. Much love, brother. Explore flat Earth. Tell Walter I said thanks. Okay, I don't talk to him, but just hashtag thanks Walter. Everyone should just say thanks Walter. They love to say thanks Bob. Well, okay, thanks Walter. What's it? I've never seen light actually bend, only refract, which just places it optically, like when the straw seems disjointed from the straw above the glass. Exactly. What do globers mean by refraction? They think that light physically bends. They're out of their mind. But light doesn't have to physically bend at all. When we look through our azimuthal grid, what we're doing is we're seeing an optical effect. It's an optical phenomena, an optical illusion. Just like in their own paradigm, they have to invoke that for anti-crepuscular rays, right? It's an optical effect. That's it. Light doesn't have to physically bend in impossible ways. The reason that he put that in his description is because he couldn't come up with anything else to debunk it. He tried so hard to debunk flat Earth with the sky, and he found out he could perfectly map out everything. So he had to come up with a way before he released it. He finally just gave up and said light would have to bend in a possible way. This would require refraction. That's impossible. Because he knew that the globe zealots would just repeat no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And he probably made himself believe it. He's like, I could have come up with a gradient that would make it work or whatever. Like, no, we don't need refraction. We don't need any of your weird gods that get you out of all the falsification of your model. Like, it's just an optical effect based on how we perceive things. We can show this a dozen different ways. So light doesn't physically bend in an impossible way. It's an optical effect, and they've never responded to that. They can't respond to that. In fact, they begin to deny and flip flop with what railroad tracks are, what they actually look like. They can't even admit that the tangible parallel reality is different than what we see, which is optical convergence. So there's a difference in position based on optics. They can't even admit that there's a difference in a perceived direction and position of the crepuscular and anti-crepuscular rays relative to what they believe it is, which is parallel rays. They can't concede that, because if they can concede that light looks like it's in a different position or a different direction than what it actually is based on how we see, then they know they have to concede that all celestial phenomena works on the Earth perfectly. It's predictable, and nothing can in any way falsify the flat Earth with the sky. So that's, yeah, I mean, they have to fight it. Great work and presentation. Thanks. Thank you, Kyle Morellis. Thank you for the $10 super chat and the kind words. Much love. Glad that you enjoyed it. This is eye-opening, literally, Ella. Yeah, it's cool. We do have a public service announcement from none other than your boy Albert Einstein, though, so check it out.
Top 5 proofs that the Earth is not a spinning ball. 1. Long-distance line of sight horizontal radio wave transmissions. We shoot radio waves horizontally on the Earth and can receive them thousands of miles away. Marconi first did this. His detractors said it would not work because the curve of Earth would block it at 200 miles, but he shot them 2,200 miles successfully first attempt, then over 10,000 miles. 2. Planes cannot land on a moving surface, it's physically impossible. They also cannot fly on a spinning Earth without accounting for the Earth spinning underneath them. They would be off by thousands of miles in a 5-hour flight north to south, for example. Yet, all pilots ever have TO fly planes assuming a flat and stationary Earth, or it wouldn't work. 3. Michelson-Morley experiment used an apparatus utilizing interferometry over 10x more sensitive than it needed to be to detect the alleged orbit/movement of the Earth, and it showed the Earth was entirely stationary. All scientific experiments that have ever been done have shown the Earth to be completely stationary, hence all stars resetting around the Earth annually for all recorded history. 4. Long-distance observations. We have observed mountains in the distance over 270 miles away that should have been obstructed by over 5 vertical miles of Earth curvature. We have observations 1 foot of the surface where the horizon is over 10x further than the globe model's mathematical prediction. This observation would require the radius of a spherical Earth be 264,000 miles, they claim it is 3,959 miles. 5. Mirror flashes. We have observations of mirror flashes over 20 miles away from a mirror sitting on the surface of the beach that should be blocked by hundreds of feet of Earth curvature. Mirror flashes can only be seen with line of sight as you see the reflection of the light the moment it hits just the right angle to create line of sight to the observer. Mirror flashes from long distances have been done hundreds of times all over the Earth.
I saw someone say, by the way, mirror flash is a death blow. You have to have line of sight. That's what the angle is actually where it breaches line of sight with the observer. Only time you can see it, and then you see it appear through the horizon because obviously the horizon is not physical. But anyway, I think Jared and I may want to do like a really dope mirror flash test from the ground. There's game over. There's no way around it. That was a great presentation, bro. Great work. Thank you, man. Shout out to Iron Horse Legend. Okay, so I saw someone say I wouldn't put it that way because planes can land on moving surfaces. They land on aircraft carriers every day. Okay, first of all, most dangerous type of landing that exists. Secondly, they have to land in the same direction as the boat's moving. If they don't, it will literally destroy the plane. That's the point. Okay. And they have to have a rope that when it lands in the same direction that the ship is moving, because they're not actually stationary, they're moving in water, right? They have to land in the same direction that the boat is moving. And then there's a rope and the little hook on the plane gets caught on the hook on the rope to help slow them down, right? Because they're landing on a moving aircraft that's short. If you were to land with a direction going against those wheels, it would destroy the plane. Okay, so that's the actual point. And again, if you fly north to south on the Great Meridian, Great Circle route, you would have to account for the curvature of the Earth. They claim the atmosphere moves separately with the Earth from the Earth because they have to, and of course that's where you get Coriolis, and that means you would have to update constantly relative to what direction you are flying. But we fly the Earth like it's stationary. We fly the plane like the Earth is stationary and flat, and don't update at all whatsoever for any Earth spin ever, never, ever. Okay, it's not any blueprints, any engineering, any pilot schools. So yeah, that's the point. Oh my gosh, another public service announcement.
Hi, I am Albert Einstein. I'm infamous for postulating the theory of relativity. Nikola Tesla dunked on me almost immediately, accurately pointing out my theory cannot be correct for the simple reason alone that space cannot have physical properties. To be honest, I did not even come up with my theories. I took every part from other existing theories that I do not even fully understand. Anyway, I am here to tell you that I was propped up to help explain away the irrefutable evidence that the Earth is stationary, one of the most famous examples being the Michelson-Morley experiment. To save the religion of heliocentrism, I added a fourth dimension comprised merely of concepts, claimed objects in motion physically contract, but it can just never be directly detected, did away with the ether, and put forth a mathematical mess of paradoxical pseudoscience that fools mistake as profound. Trust me, it's all wrong, I would know. Concepts are not physical. It's, well, relatively simple.
We have a new series on this channel coming out called Relatively Simple. So we'll have Relatively Simple, we'll have Schooling the Globers, and then we'll have some more in the future. Casey Industry asked this. Not gonna lie, I still don't see there's a concentric point that everything revolves around. If it's at the bottom of the firmament, it is a reflection of Polaris. No, it's not at the bottom of the firmament, dude. It's a personal dome, dude. It's a personal dome. So just like it looks, I'll show the presentation again. Okay. See, it's personalized to you. It's a personalized quote unquote dome. You can live inside a dome, but this is a personal dome. Nothing that the stars move over top of you. Actually, what we'll do is this. I'll show the actual website. In a world where no one knows what the world is. Boom. Okay. Here we go. So we have a personal hemisphere azimuthal grid over top of us. All right, let's see. How do I do this? I don't remember how to do it. There you go. Stars. Okay, the stars can be flat in a plane over top of you. Again, which actually makes perfect sense. There would be a layer that the stars are in. You see on the left here, you have layers going up, and they would be circles drawn on the inside of the dome. They would be literal density layers with different sizes. They would be circles because they're inside of the dome, the firmament. And also, this would be fractal, and this would be what you see inside your own personal dome. Okay, so you would have a layer that the stars are on, and they would be a flat plane above you. Although there's a firmament stretched out like a tent, there's stars placed inside that tent, and they could be a perfectly flat plane. Now it works either way, whether the stars are all the way on or not. But you would have like, again, if you have a dome, you have a dome. If you're going to draw on the inside of the dome, there are circles in that dome. If you complete the dome if you take two domes and put them together, what do you get? You get a sphere. If you draw on the end, if you draw all the way around the sphere, what are you going to get? A bunch of circles. Okay, so now we have a hemisphere, a dome. Okay, take the dome, draw. You have a circle, a smaller circle, smaller circle. On the inner edge of this dome, you're going to have circles going up, and they would be flat. They would be planes, just circles. Okay, circular planes like this right here. And this is also how we see in a dome. So when we looked up, we would see inside of these circles based on our limit of perspective. Okay. So that's why we see rainbows are circles. And then when we look from the side view, we see a dome. I've never heard anyone else fully explain it. We look from the outside, we see a dome. When we look up above or at a different angle to the rainbow, we see a circle. We see circles with the sundogs. When we look at the front, we see a dome. Okay, so this is the circles. Now, if you look here at this model, we can make the sky a circle. Okay, so it's one of the circles inside of this. You make it flat. It doesn't have to be flat. It works either way, but okay. So it's flat. Now you have a dome that you see through. Okay, it's called an azimuthal grid of vision. This is objective. There's no way around it. It's provable. Okay, so even the globe has to use this construct to make the globe work with the sky. They literally have to use the same thing because it's just objectively how we take angles on the Earth, and we've proven it with all these different phenomena that we cover tonight. Now, when we move out at different, at different positions on the Earth here, right? So we are going to different longitudes. You can see the rotation right there that you're perceiving would be what people call, say, sigma octantis, right? So we're going to come out here to the edge. Now you see this right here. Let me come over here to make sure you can see from the different direction. Okay, you see where that position is. Now, that literally what we see is that it changes. We literally see that it changes position. Okay, so we're seeing this. Now, for this person's observability, we see it here. Now, when we come over here, we see it at a different direction. Well, that's what we see in reality. We see in different directions. And it just looks like there's a central position where all the stars converge, just like crepuscular rays. The sun is 180 degrees behind us right here. 180 degrees behind us, but it looks like the sun is all going to a point. It's all going to a point here. The sun's behind us, though. It's 180 degrees behind us. So we have crepuscular rays. We have crepuscular rays. See? Going up to a point, right? We have crepuscular rays. And we have anti-crepuscular rays. It looks, so when we're looking away from the sun, it looks like the light is going down to a point. Same thing here. This is where you would get the southern star, quote unquote, that you can't see with the naked eye. It would have to do that. There's no other way. If the stars are moving over top of you, you would literally have to get this point of optical convergence. There's no way around it. So all the stars are going to look like they're moving around that point. Okay. And this explains all phenomena, dude. So hopefully that makes sense. Shout out to the legends at Rockfin. Slay King. Thank you, Adam, for the $5 tip. Much love, brother. David Goss, thank you for the $5 tip at Rockfin. And Corey, thank you for the $5 tip on Rockfin. Keep on keeping on. Will Dill, thank you guys for the support. Legends, welcome to Miswit Level 3. Hey, Level 3, Dakota Dunn. Thank you for becoming a Miswit. There you go. Muchas gracias, amigo. Thank you, Vin Lav, $2 super chat. Much love, no problem. Great work and presentation. Thanks. Thank you, Kyle Morellis. Thank you for the $10 super chat and the kind words. Greatly appreciated. I still don't get the direction thing. What do you mean? What do you mean you don't get the direction thing? What direction thing? All right, let's go back to the presentation. I'm going to stick it out with you guys for a second, but you guys have to rewatch the stream. Okay. Okay, so this is how we see in 360 degrees. Okay? We see in 360 degrees. Dude, 360 degrees. If I turn around a full circle, I have a limit to how far I can see in all directions. Go to a top of a mountain and look around. A full circle in all directions. You have a limit to how far you can see in all directions. We have a 360 degree field of view, right? Just like this is depicting. Look, peep the bottom right too. The globe has to use this construct. This is why it's such a death blow to them, because they can't even fight it. It's almost not even fair. I almost feel like we're bullying them or something. So we see like this with the zenith right above us, position right above us. We have the horizon outside. This is called the azimuth. We take angles to the stars, 30 degrees, 60 degrees. Inside of this, we see like this. Okay, we see inside of a 360 degree like this, and this is how we get our measurements, which is where you get this. Okay, you have your zenith directly above you. This is how we map out the sky in the real world, right? You have your altitude angle to your star. Again, that's what this is, your altitude angle. Based on this, you're looking out, whatever you're using, telescope, doesn't matter. Okay? So you get your altitude angle from your azimuth, which is your direction on the horizon. Now, your horizon is a giant circle around you, like a hula hoop. Okay, they hijacked your perspective and claimed that you lived on a ball when in fact you live inside of a sphere and you see in a sphere. Okay, so this is how they map it out. You get your altitude based on that. Now you get the full 360 degrees, right? Of course, continuing that over to here, you get 360. Okay, so this is all directions. You see in all directions. Okay? Just like we see with anti-crepuscular rays. Right? We look behind us. There's a limit to our perspective, so it looks like it's converging behind us. When we look to the east, when we look to the west, you're going to see a curve from position to position, right? That's what we see in reality. We see a curve from position to position. Again, we have anti-crepuscular rays 180 degrees behind the sun. Because there's optical convergence in all directions based on our limit of view. Even though the sun's the opposite direction, it's setting in the opposite direction. It looks like it's over there. Okay. Same thing here. You look in all directions. You have an optical convergence to a specific point. It's just an optical effect based on perspective, right? And the globe has to even admit this, which is what's so funny. So what do they use when they want to use suncalc.org and they want to map out the position of the sun and how far we can see it? They have a giant circle of view in all directions with optical convergence at a point in both directions, right? You have your optical convergence here, optical convergence here. Now just take this and think about being here and looking south at the stars and looking north at the stars, and all the stars are moving over you in one direction. You're going to see a point. It's going to all come to a point. Just like here, all those are going to a point. It's going to a point here in both directions. Okay, so you see in 360 degree, you're going to see an optical effect where it looks like it's converging in all directions. So here you go, just like on the dome, you have it looking like it curves. Here's another depiction of that. Again, in the real world, we quite literally see that. Look at the circle. Okay. This is pretty simple. You're in your azimuthal grid. That's why you see the sun and the moon. Let me find the other one for you. I don't actually know where it's at. Okay, the same thing here. Look, we're looking south. Okay, look, this is what the stars are actually doing. They're just going in perfect concentric circles around the central point. But when we look out south, it's going to look like they're converging down. See this? See, we're looking out south. It's going to look like they're converging in all these different directions because of the atmos through our perspective. It's going to look like it's converging around a singular point, just like inside the dome. You see this right here? There isn't actually a convergence point inside this dome. These are just perfect circles. So why does it look like there's a convergence point right here and you're starting to see one right here? Because it's just an effect of curved visual space, of a curved, basically, dome of vision. It causes the circles to look like there's an extra convergence point over here that's not actually there. Okay. Same thing here. You see there's two convergence points, one here, looking through the dome. You have counterclockwise and clockwise. Just like we do on the Earth, you look one way, looking south, looking north, you see two optical convergence points. It's going to be like that for every person, because not because of the giant dome, because of our personal dome. Same thing here. You see it all over the place here. Right? I'm getting one of these in the mail. Optical convergence on both sides. Optical convergence on both sides. Convergence around a point on both sides. Convergence, convergence, convergence. Optical convergence on both sides due to the dome that you're viewing through. That's why it matches perfectly with what we see in the sky. Same thing here. Right? This is at the equator. You're going to see right here, you're going to see optical convergence on both sides. This is how we see inside of our vision. This is why you see right here. Same thing. You see inside this that we're on the plane in the middle. You look north, look south. You're going to see the same thing. Look east here. You're going to see the straight lines. Let me find the other one. I mean, hopefully this is making sense to you guys, but I can only stay here so much longer. Here, let's play this again. Oh, you can't even hear it, of course. A brand upload. Sorry, I'm trying to find this. So many videos in here. There we go. Okay. Uploading it. Let's see if this is the one I want to show you. No. Here, Sigma Octantis is the central point, right? Okay. Just like it converges to a point here, right? Now the sun's the other way. There is no light source over here. Why does it look like it's all going to one point, converging? Well, now spin it. That's what I think people are missing. All those light rays look like they're converging to a singular point. But the sun's behind me. It looks like they're all converging like the sun's over there. It's just an optical effect. Okay, based on how we see, based on our perspective, we have a curved limit of view, 360 degrees. So I can look behind me, right? The sun can be in front of me. I can look behind me and see an optical convergence to what it looks like it's going to. The light source is going, in a central point to a light source, but it's not. This light source is behind me. Okay, now spin it. What's going to happen? If you spin it, it's going to look like it's going the opposite direction as behind you. And it's going to look like it's going around a singular point that's converging, but it's not. Just like the anti-crepuscular rays actually are not converging to a single point. Take those anti-crepuscular rays and spin them. All right, here you go. That's why it's staying right here, Sigma Octantis, and you see that the stars are moving around relative to it. As you change your position, that optical convergence point changes because you're changing where you are underneath the actual stars moving. Okay, let me see if I can find the other one here. So look, you see right here, this is what we see. You see down here, you see an optical convergence point as well, right? Just like with the crepuscular rays. So we know this exists. It's verifiable, right? You have the sun setting in the west. It looks like the rays are diverging out from that point where the sun is. If you look over behind you at the east, while the sun is setting at the west, you look to the east, you see what looks like anti-crepuscular rays there, right? Same thing, diverging away from a singular point or converging to that point, even though the sun is all the way over here, right? So it's just an optical effect based on your circle of view. So if you were to take what you're seeing, those rays look like they're converging to this point, you see that it's a point there, right? Now spin that. If it was spinning, what would happen? All right, so take these lines out to right where you, on the line that you're at, draw them all the way to you, where they look like they're coming from. Turn back to the sun, do the same thing, draw the divergent ray lines out to where you are. They're going to meet in the middle in a straight line where they meet. There'll be a straight line, right? And you look this way, if these were spinning, look, as they're spinning, you're going to see them move around a single point. It's just an optical effect, though. The sun's over here, so there's nothing over here. There's just the sun over here. If it's spinning, you're going to look like it's spinning around a point there, but there isn't actually a point there. It's just the light perceived through your curved limit of view. That's why we see the stars look like this, because you have this straight line right here, or right here, more so, where they meet. You have the straight line right here where they meet. Okay, that's why you get a different version of each person's sky relative to that observer. That's why you get Sigma Octantis, same area you get Polaris, because you're looking at this optical effect where it makes it look like, because you can only see so far, it's curving. How far you can see is a limit to your perspective, and it's a curve, a giant circle. Your eyes are circles. Everything we see is fractal. It's all really a toroid. Okay, now you're going to look out away. All the stars are moving this way in reality. You're going to look the opposite way, and it's going to look like they're converging around a point out here, even though they're not, because that's how perspective works. And it's going to look like they're going the opposite direction around a singular point based on perspective, because you can only see so far. And when we look at the star positions, there you go. They're not all in the same direction at the same position. There's one that's all the way up here off of south at the same time in the other. So look, this is Salvador here at the bottom left. Okay, so Central America, Salvador, right? We see the position of the star by the Southern Cross. That's all the way up above the horizon, slightly off south. Okay, so we see the time down here, 2140 UTC. We're gonna come over here. We're gonna look at the same time, 2140 UTC. Wait, get out of here. Now we're in Perth, Australia, and we're gonna see the same star. The Southern Cross is all the way down here on the horizon at the same time. And it's even further off of south. It's even further off of south. This is where the stars are actually mapped to be in reality. Now we come over here. Okay, same time, 2140 UTC. We're in Johannesburg. Now we're going to come over here and look how far the Southern Cross is off the south now, and way higher up off the horizon than this place. Okay, because we're looking through a dome. There's a giant circle over top of us. There are certain stars in the sky. We're seeing them based through our personal view, and that's where we see. That's what we see. Them all appear to converge. Now, what's funny is, how do these directions make sense on a globe? Because if you take that position, and that position, and you map it on a globe, what? It's not even looking at the circumpolar rotation of the bottom of a ball. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't know how else to say it, but again, here you go. It looks like it's converging. It's just an optical effect based on the dome. Right? Play one more video. Okay. It's a very profound truth, to be honest. And once it really clicks with you, it's pretty crazy. So hopefully I really broke it down where you guys understood it there. Watch this one more time because I really like this one. That's what we see, bro. And again, if I'm in one position on the globe Earth and I'm looking out in one singular direction on one position, how can I see different directions of rotation in the sky? I'm on a globe that's spinning in one direction, supposedly making the stars look like they're spinning, even though they're not moving relative to us. We're just spinning, so it makes the stars look like they're spinning. If I'm in one position and I look out in a singular direction, how do I see multiple directions of movement in the sky if I'm only spinning one direction? I can only be spinning one direction. I'm in one position on the globe. The globe can only spin in one direction at once. It can't have the top half going one way while the bottom half goes the other way. But it does make perfect sense when you see this, and this is how perspective works, provable. And again, one more time to finish it off. That is what we actually see from the equator. Look at that. How am I seeing multiple directions? Bro, someone tell me how I'm on a ball going one direction at one location, looking in one direction. How do I see stars going this way and going this way? The Earth can't be spinning the Earth cannot be spinning two different directions at the same time. Sorry, I forgot about the music. Think about that. It's going this way. It's going this way. I'm looking in one direction, standing in one position on a globe that's supposedly spinning one direction, making it look like the stars are moving, even though we're moving and we can't feel it, and the stars are still, but look like they're moving. Look at that. Look at the different directions, bro. Oh, you're gonna say that that's a wide angle? Hey, is that a panoramic? Is that a panoramic? Right. This way? That way. One place. The Earth can only be spinning one way. Look at that. I'll find a way to drop the presentation in t.me/Witsit streams so everyone can have it and look at it. Boom. All right. Hopefully that helped it click for you guys. You got a link for that beat. It's called Sometimes Uplifting Rap Beat on YouTube. All right, cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. Sorry about it, ballers. I know you hate that the flat earth can explain everything, but again, all you're ever going to hear them say, and it's like a parrot, they're just going to continue to say it. Again, this is the rebuttal. It's very simple. The light does not have to physically bend. It is an optical effect viewed through curved visual space. Through our limit of perspective, it causes the optical effects that makes the light look like it's in a different position. It's not physically bending anywhere. And all they will say,
Walter says light would have to bend for that model to work. Bendy light rays. My daddy MC Tune said light can't bend that way. Stupid flurf. Ben. D. Light. Rays.
there you go. Cool. Thank you guys for kicking it. Thanks for all the support. I don't think that there were any more donations. We're good at Rockfin. Thank you for kicking it at Rockfin. Much love, everybody over there. I think it's hilarious. Just like a baller. It's like just clutching on to that ball. You don't let go of that ball, dude. You know, I mean, it's very obvious it's going to come out in the next 2 years, probably. I mean, maybe it won't. I don't know what they're going to do, but you've been saying that forever. All right, man. All right, bro. Please, please just leave us alone. Like, yikes. Check your PO box ASAP. All right, we'll do. We'll do. Have a great one. Awesome. Much love. All right. Thank you guys for kicking it. Seek and speak truth unequivocally. Yeah, I'm going to play this, though, just for a skull on Glover. Seek and speak truth unequivocally. The weak find contentment in the consensus of ignorance. So who cares what other people think? That's how it goes. You know, strong people don't care what weak people think, and informed people don't care what ignorant people think. And when you're strong and you speak the truth unequivocally, then you're going to get attacked. And whenever people revile you for the truth's sake or for Yah's sake, rejoice, for they did to all the prophets before you. It is what it is. And of course, if you're representing the truth, you are representing the Creator, because the Creator is the summary of truth, effectively the epitome of that. So just always hold steadfast, prove all things to be true. Don't believe any individual person, just prove it for yourself. Always remain humble and honest, and then represent the truth and speak it boldly once you discover it. Don't be selfish with it. What's popular is not true. What's true is typically not popular. So who cares about conforming to consensus? Because again, the weak find contentment in the consensus of ignorance. Until the next stream, I'll catch up with you guys. Much love.
That's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers acting steady high, say they sipping pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big Pharma set it up, had to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Took the way you saw the world, then distorted it. Now you think you wanna rock that twirl, somewhere orbiting. Theories disproportionate, the truth distorted quick with a forceful grip. They force a misinfo that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature, that mean extorted it. They forging it, if news anchors informant to informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this, we courting ships important. Yes, of course it is, what extortion is in accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks we ignoring, which informing this, informing this. It looked like we were snoring tricked. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilify those insubordinate. Way to matrix that's for Israel. Wonder is it real? Rappers acting say they high, say they sip with pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big Pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder is it real?